Hello, my name is Joe Lavarini, and I thank you for tuning in to my master's project presentation. For the last year, I've been transitioning into a new career opportunity in the Gunnison Valley while pursuing my Master of Environmental Management degree at Western Colorado University. Upon landing in Crested Butte in March of 2020, the same week the COVID pandemic surged over Gunnison, I got to work combining my professional and academic pursuits. Over the next few minutes, I'll share the story of my graduate experience, my master's project, and the exciting work we're doing in the Gunnison Valley. Amidst a year of firsts and records and everything seeming to be a bit extra, 2020 was also a doozy for public lands. In the Gunnison Valley, user intensity and user types hit an all-time high. In a year that our definition of essential was reimagined, public lands offered a way out of lockdown. From mountain bikes to motorhomes, snowmobiles, and paddleboards, more people are using the land in more ways. And not only are we recreating more, but we are also more reliant than ever on public lands for clean air, fresh water, wood products, and carbon storage, to name a few. If we are going to continue to utilize the land with such intensity, we must commit to environmental stewardship as a foundational community ethic. Or as Aldo Leopold coined it, we need to exercise voluntary decency with the natural world and sacrifice time, money, and effort on behalf of its lasting health. While I didn't know it at the time, while I was accepting my new job with the National Forest Foundation, community leaders in Gunnison were discussing how to put people to work amid an economic crisis caused by a public health emergency. At about the same time, public land managers were bracing themselves for the impacts of thousands and millions of people looking for a way to escape their homes and offices for fresh air and exercise. The use of public lands had already been steadily increasing, and now a global pandemic was pushing people outside at record rates. During somewhat comparable circumstances in the 1930s, FDR created the Civilian Conservation Corps as a response to high rates of unemployment and a backlog of public infrastructure and natural resource management needs. The CCC was considered a great success, and the U.S. government has supported several core initiatives since the Civilian Conservation Corps dissolution in 1942. To be clear, FDR's Corps was fundamentally flawed. The program perpetuated white supremacy and almost entirely excluded women, and many of the national parks in which its core members worked were formed through violent displacement of indigenous people. But in its conception, the original CCC modeled bold, impactful governance to confront a crisis, to prepare for what many anticipated to be, and what turned out to be, the busiest tourist season in Gunnison record, and to provide employment opportunities for those facing economic hardship due to the pandemic. We acted urgently last spring to launch the Sustainable Tourism and Outdoor Recreation Corps, aka the STORE Corps. STORE Corps is a partnership between Gunnison County and the National Forest Foundation. The seed funding for the program was provided by Gunnison County via its federal CARES Act stimulus funds. Securing those seed dollars gave us the go-ahead to secure matching funds through Great Outdoors Colorado and the local tourism association. The STORE Corps was launched in June of 2020. With use of the Gunnison National Forest up by 300% last year, we had our work cut out for us. The Corps' scope of work fell into two buckets: land stewardship and public outreach. The stewardship work included boots-on-the-ground improvements, such as wetland restoration to provide for grouse habitat, lynx habitat monitoring ahead of a timber sale, and constructing single-track trail at Hartman Rocks. Outreach activities included tabling and roving at high-use recreation areas to engage with the public to spread an ethic of responsible and sustainable use of the landscape. Over the 4-month season, we talked with more than 1,500 public lands users out on the land, informing them of leave no trace principles and agency regulations, and serving as naturalists and guide by identifying wildflowers and providing directions to campgrounds. The STORE Corps provided work for 10 young professionals who wanted to make a career out of conservation or recreation. 3 of the crew members received undergraduate credit from Western alongside their wages. As part of their curriculum, the students submitted a capstone project that will help to build on and improve the StoreCorps moving forward. Thanks to the work of those students, we now have a safety plan, a communication plan, and a training portfolio that will provide for the foundation for this year's crew. With 24 million acres of public lands in Colorado, 2.9 million acres of which are on the GMUG, and 70% of Forest Service budget going to fire borrowing, community organizations are playing a critical role in stewarding the forest. The StoreCorps program will be back this year and likely for the foreseeable future. We secured grant funding from Great Outdoors Colorado and Colorado Parks and Wildlife to hire 8 crew members for a 16-week season. While my focus is on hiring for the StoreCorps this season, I'm excited about the opportunities to continue expanding the workforce to accomplish conservation and climate mitigation goals. In a speech in my hometown of Pittsburgh earlier this month, President Joe Biden doubled down on the American Jobs Plan, aimed in part at combating climate change by committing $10 billion to a New Deal-style civilian climate corps that is endorsed by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others. Senator Bennett recently announced the Replant Act, which would create close to 50,000 jobs and help the Forest Service to plant 1.2 billion trees. And Congressman Joe Neguse of Boulder recently announced his 21st Century Conservation Corps legislation. We are on the precipice of a green jobs boom, and the National Forest Foundation, a congressionally chartered nonprofit organization, is well positioned to help enact government programs and put people to work tackling the climate crisis. Not only are StoreCorps crew members receiving wages and credit, but we're also providing training for future careers. Crew members this year will be eligible for a Public Lands Corps certificate, which gives young professionals a leg up when applying for a career with federal land management agencies. Though it's not exactly what I envisioned doing when I started the MEM program just under 2 years ago, the StoreCorps program has been a great success. And I'm excited that I'll have help developing the program, as MEM student Matthew Merritt will step in to take the program on as his graduate project and as an NFF Conservation Connect Fellow. We're also looking for ways to engage the community in the care of the land. To that end, we are planning a community volunteer tree planting event at Crested Butte Mountain Resort this summer. Tree planting projects are important for catalyzing regeneration of impacted areas, and they provide benefits like clean air and carbon storage. The National Forest Foundation is amid a 5-year, 50 million tree campaign, and we're finding ways to engage the community in our work. If you are interested in tree planting or community stewardship, or if you need a summer job that could turn into a career in conservation, please give me a holler. My contact information is listed at the bottom of this slide. Thank you.